Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. Yesterday, we had some technical difficulties, I guess you could say. My OBS, when I stream on, practically just crashed midstream, so I only got to go through one segment, which sucked, but today I think I fixed it. Hopefully, we're back up and running. So, yeah, I can, stream, which is my job. So hopefully I can do that today, which so far it looks good. But today we're talking the big three sports: MLB, football, and basketball. First segment we're talking about going to the NBA. We're talking about the NBA first round of the conference semifinals started, technically 2 days ago with Cleveland and the Pacers, but last night was the two more games, so we'll recap those games so far. Then we'll preview the two games for tonight, the NBA games. After that, I want to talk about Shaquille O'Neal now being at Sacramento State. I want to talk about, that a little bit. After that, we'll jump away from the NBA, head to the NFL. I'll talk about the AFC North. We'll break that down, see what's going on in the AFC North. After that, end off by going to the MLB. Like I said I would last week, I'm going to the MLB again. It's that time of year. I want to talk about it. So we're talking about the MLB power rankings, like my power rankings right now within the season. But before we get into any of that, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. By tipping and donating, you guys are showing your support for us and showing that you guys are caring about the content we're putting out. And we're putting out the best content that we possibly can. So if you do wish to tip or donate and you're in the live stream, please feel free to do that by going to the super chat and the sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream and you want to tip or donate, feel free to do that with the two links in the bio and in the description. Even if you don't want to, tip or donate, but you still want to show your support, feel free to just leave a comment. Leave a comment in the YouTube comment section, especially the live stream comment section. I'll see that right away and respond to that. The YouTube short comment section, we post on short, so make sure, go on there and leave a comment there. But that's just showing support is the best, and you guys show support like leaving comments or donating. It really means a lot to us. So like I said, if you do wish to tip or donate and show your support, feel free to do that if you're in the live stream with the super chat and sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream, the two links in the bio and in the description. Now with that being said, let's get into topic number one for today. NBA conference semifinals recap. So far, we've had 3 games. 2 of them were yesterday, which was Monday, and then 1 on Sunday, which was the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Indiana Pacers game. And let's just break them down a little bit. We'll talk about each game individually. First game, we'll do Cleveland game. We'll talk about that game, Cleveland, Indiana. That with the Indiana Pacers coming in strong, taking a quick 1-0 lead over the number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers in the first game of, game 1 Eastern Conference semifinals. Huge win for Indiana. Really kind of, they played great that whole game. It was a huge help that, Darius Garland for the Cavs wasn't playing. He was injured. He was sitting out, and they took advantage of that. Took advantage of him not being able to play, him sitting out. And Darius Garland is one of the best, honestly, guards, one of the best scoring guards in the NBA. He is very efficient from anywhere he shoots. He's a pure scorer. And him sitting out is a huge loss for Cleveland. Even though they have plenty of guys to, back him up to, next guy up. Cleveland has anybody for any situation. They have plenty of backups. But losing Darius Garland is a really bad, beat for Cleveland. I mean, like I said, he's a great player. He's an all-star. And losing an all-star player like that in the first game of the semis is horrible. It sucks to see that. So Indiana came in and took advantage of that. Indiana played a great game. Multiple guys with 10-plus points. I believe it was 7 guys who had 10-plus points. This is always going to help. If you're having 7 guys scoring 10-plus points a game, that's just 70. That's 70 points right there. just off 7 guys. And that's just if them scoring 10 points. They can be scoring 15, 20, 30, anything like that. And you're going to win games if you're having multiple, especially like everyone in your starters plus, guys coming off the bench putting up 10, 15 plus points a game. You're going to win games like that. You're going to win games and you're going to win series and you're going to win NBA championships with, when you have players who are able to come off the bench and just score like that. And Indiana is a very good team. Honestly, a very underrated team. I'm not going to lie. I was very, what's the word? I wouldn't say, I wasn't very high. That's what I was looking for. High on Indiana this postseason. They were good last year, but I thought their playoff run to the Eastern Conference Finals was kind of like a fluke. They got swept by Boston, and that's all I needed to see. I'm like, this team just really isn't it. They just aren't going to cut it, and they did. They dominated. They absolutely dominated Giannis and the Bucks in the first round, 4-1 win, and coming in as a 5 seed and beating, or a 4 seed, sorry, coming in and beating, Cleveland first game, setting the tone. Huge. It's absolutely huge for them. It's going to be huge for their playoff success so far. Getting that momentum first round, huge for them. Game 2 for that is tonight, though, but we'll talk about that in the next segment where I preview the games for tonight. But, first game for them, huge win, and taking a 1-0 lead early on in Cleveland, it always helps to, start with a lead. So, good start for them. Then we had 2 games last night. One of them Western Conference. We had the Denver Nuggets versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then we had the Boston Celtics play their game and against the New York Knicks. Let's talk about the Knicks game. The Knicks-Celtic game was, for most of the game, while the Celtics had that 20-point lead, very just kind of boring. I wouldn't say boring, but I mean, I'm not really sure how to explain it. But it wasn't that fun of a game to watch until the Knicks were kind of climbing back up through the ropes, climbing back up, coming back and getting the win. It was a huge game for them. Coming in to Boston, and Boston's looking to go back to back, and I honestly do believe they can go back to back. I think they will, but them having Boston shoot 63 pointers and only make 10 of them you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose games like that. I mean, when you're shooting, is it 13% from beyond the arc? You're not gonna win your game, especially if you're putting up 60 plus shots a game beyond that range, and you're only making 10 or less. You're gonna lose your games. Celtics are a very 3-heavy team, very heavily dependent on the 3-point. They don't need to be. They're a very good team in the paint, but they rely very heavily on their 3-point play, and when they're off, they're gonna lose. They lose games, and they had that 20-point lead against the Knicks. The Knicks said, enough is enough. We won first round. We're gonna come back and we're gonna win this game too, and they did. They came back down 20, came back, beat the Celtics by 5 points. I didn't watch the game. I've only saw highlights of it. But Jalen Brunson, he played phenomenal. Jalen Brunson is a great overall player. I mean, even though he beat my Pistons last series, he's still a great player, and no one's doubting his ability to play. But great player. Obviously, you got Mikal Bridges. He's played very good for the Knicks this postseason. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns, Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby. I mean, the Knicks are a very good team, but the Celtics overall are the better overall team. And, the Celtics, I would 100% believe the Celtics would win this series in 4 or 5. And even with the Knicks winning their one game, I still believe it's going to be Celtics in 5. I think they're just a better overall team than the Knicks. I think that if the Knicks don't, if the Celtics don't shoot 13% from beyond the arc, and they're already, they'll be up in that game by 40 points, maybe 30, and they don't give the Knicks the time to come back and win the game. So I think the Knicks kind of just got lucky. I wouldn't say, well, they did. They got lucked out by the fact that the Celtics couldn't shoot yesterday. But I think that's kind of like a one and done thing. I think the Celtics just come back better and stronger next game and just dominate on all sides of the floor. And then the final game for last night, we had the OKC versus Denver, the battle of the MVPs. Phenomenal game all around. Russ back in OKC, that was kind of the main story for me. I thought Russ going back to OKC was the big story. Obviously, it was a great game, but I love Russell Westbrook, and him going back to OKC where he started off. It was a cool story, but the game overall phenomenal the whole time. When you're winning, when Aaron Gordon hit that clutch three with like 20 seconds left, I mean, he silenced the arena. The arena OKC's arena was just so loud. It was so loud, and he hits that dagger, and it just all the energy in that arena just kind of went away. It just disappeared, vanished. It was gone. You could see all the fans, was distraught. And the Thunder, Thunder falling first game home. I know it's not going to be an easy series. It's the Denver Nuggets are a phenomenal team. They have Nikola Jokic, who's, like I said, MVP caliber player, playing against MVP caliber player, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And, it's going to be a great series regardless. I think this series will, like the other series, Denver versus LA, that'll be a very good series going to 7. I think Denver is going to be in a 7-game series each time they play this year. Even if they lose this series, I still think they're going to 7. It's just that type of series. It's going to be, a great series as well. But Denver coming out game 1 in OKC, getting the win with an Aaron Gordon dagger and a Jokic triple-double to help, top it off as always, because he loves to do that for some reason. He loves getting his triple-doubles, so nothing could stop him from getting a triple-double. He's just so dominant. He really is. He just, you will never find a big, you will not find a big in the near future who is as skilled as Jokic at his position. You cannot. No center can pass like him, shoot like him, but centers can rebound like him. But no one can pass or shoot like Jokic can for a center. He's insane. And this series, like I said, I 100% believe can go to 7. It's going to be one of those series. It's going to be back and forth. Just going to be what team wants it more. And I think Denver wants it more. I think they have more to prove. They just fired their head coach, and I think they want to do it. The players liked him. So I think they want to do it for him and, get a ring in his honor, do it for him. And hopefully so, because I want to see Denver go play Boston in the finals, which I 100% believe can happen. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're talking about the 2 games tonight, NBA games. We'll preview those. After that, we're sticking with the NBA or basketball. Go to college, talk about Shaquille O'Neal. Now it's Sacramento State in a coaching position, general manager position. After that, we're going to the NFL, talk about the AFC North, ending in segment 5 with the MLB, and that's Power Rankings. We'll get to all that after the break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Oh, let's pull this up a little bit. There we go. Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jambert. First segment, we talked about the NBA. The semifinals, conference semifinals have started. talked about that, previewed that so far. This segment number 2, we're talking about the NBA. 2 games tonight. Excuse me. After this, we're sticking with basketball, going to college, talking about Shaquille O'Neal as a general manager at Sacramento State basketball. Segment 4, going to the NFL, talking about AFC North. After that, ending off at segment 5, we're talking about baseball, power rankings in the MLB specifically. But before we get into any of that, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. By tipping and donating, you guys are caring, you guys are showing that you guys are caring about the content that we're putting out, and we're putting out the best content that we possibly can. So if you do wish to tip or donate and show your support, please feel free to do that with the super chat and the sticker feature in the live stream. And if you're not in the live stream, the 2 links in the bio and in the description. Even if you don't wish to tip or donate and you still want to show your support, feel free to leave a comment, live stream comment section, YouTube comment section. It doesn't matter. We're here to listen. We want you guys, we want you guys to, talk about what we're talking about, dispute our claims, anything like that. And, by leaving comments or just talking to the chat, talking to us via chat, it just shows that you guys are enjoying what we're putting out. Or maybe not enjoying, you want to debate us, which is totally fine as well. But so feel free to do that if you do want to show your support and don't want to donate or tip. But if you do want to tip or donate and you're in the live stream, feel free to do that with the super chat and sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream, the 2 links in the bio and in the description. That being said, let's get into topic number 2 for today. NBA semifinals for the playoffs. Conference semifinals are tonight. It's just conference semifinals now. And it's 2 good games tonight. We got Cleveland Cavaliers versus Indiana Pacers in game 1, first game. After that, Golden State Warriors versus Minnesota Timberwolves for their first game of the series. We'll talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers game first because this series is already up in Indiana's favor, 1-0. Indiana went into Cleveland first game and won. Huge game for them. Going into Cleveland, going into a one seed home territory and winning. Huge win for them. Absolutely. Even though Darius Garland's not playing, he wasn't playing first game, and the Pacers took advantage of it. They took advantage of an all-star caliber player not playing, and they ran with it, and they won because of it. Tonight, they're going back. They're still in Cleveland, up 1-0. Indiana's in Cleveland, up 1-0, and they want to, they're coming. They want to leave Cleveland up 2-0, and I 100% believe that can happen. Even with Garland out, though, Indiana is still, even though they're still facing a great Cleveland Cavaliers team, Indiana is. Donovan Mitchell, obviously, phenomenal player. Shot 33 points in the last game against Indiana. Andrew Nembhard, he really stepped up, for the Pacers. He's been playing great for the Pacers all year, but he stepped up last game, having 23. Really good player for them, the last game especially. And, the Cavaliers, they're not used to, this is an in-conference, in-division play. They've played the Pacers multiple times this year just by being in the same conference or same division. And they're 12-4 in division play. They're a great in-conference team. Obviously, they're a great division team. They play better against teams in their own division. And this is a game that is going to be a really big deciding factor for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Garland was seen earlier today, out moving. He was on the treadmill earlier today, and Evan Mobley, he was out moving too. He was played last game, but he was limited, and he's questionable for tonight. I do believe I'd be surprised if he doesn't play, but this is gonna be a huge. Losing an all-star, 2 all-stars and the DPOY, and this because Garland, not Garland, Mobley all-star and DPOY. Losing statistically the best player in the NBA. Defensive wise, I mean, he won the award, so obviously he has to be the best. He's not. I mean, you can make that debate, but losing one of the best defenders in the NBA is a huge loss for the Cavs. Absolutely huge loss. I mean, and then when you're losing him, you're letting the Pacers just dominate. Like I said, Andrew Nemar, 23, Tyrese Halliburton, he's basically having he's averaging a double right now, averaging 18 and 10. He's had a great postseason so far for the Pacers. He led them through the Bucks. Absolutely great postseason so far for him. Pascal Siakam, phenomenal player for the Pacers all season. He came in last season from the trade deadline, and he just absolutely helped the Pacers in every way possible. They are, he's a huge help for them. That's really all I can say. He's a huge help for them. And, yeah, honestly. So, Garland, I mean, he should be playing tonight. I think he will. I hope he does. Because if he does play, it'll be a closer game. The Cavs only lost by 9 points last game, but I felt like it was a lot more just because Garland wasn't playing. And if Garland plays, I think the game is a lot closer and a lot more, I don't know. Could be. If he does end up playing tonight, I believe the series will be tied 1-1 after tonight, though. That's my opinion on it. Game 2. First game of the series for this in Western Conference. Golden State Warriors versus Minnesota Timberwolves. These are two teams that nobody expected to get to where they were. Everybody expected the Lakers to win, beat the Timberwolves, and everybody expected the Houston Rockets to beat the Golden State Warriors. And honestly, this is going to be a great series. Like I said, no one expected I'm honestly just happy to see Golden State here because of how good they are. The Warriors statistically play better in the playoffs, and with Jimmy Butler added to the squad, Steph Curry still playing phenomenal, Draymond Green playing great defensive basketball. I mean, it's phenomenal to watch. It's going to be a great series to watch. Anthony Edwards, still probably the best young star in the NBA, absolutely dominating. He dominated the first series against Luka and LeBron and the Lakers. Rudy Gobert in that last game had 24 and 27, 20-20 double-double. And that's going to be, honestly, one of the biggest deciding factors for this series. Is Rudy Gobert going to be the deciding factor? Because the Golden State Warriors, they don't really have somebody to match up. They don't have, a big who can match up against Rudy Gobert. Yeah, they can have Draymond Green on him, but his height is nowhere near, he isn't nearly as tall or as, Rudy Gobert. Not even close. He's a great defender, though, but can he match up against the guy who's almost 1.5 feet taller than him? That's the real question. But it's going to be, a phenomenal series. This whole series is going to be great. At the end of the day, it's going to be a matter of how well Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler play and how well Anthony Edwards plays. And Anthony Edwards, the past 2 or 3 seasons, especially last year, making it to the Western Conference Finals, losing to Luka, but he dominated that first round against Phoenix. He dominated, Kevin Durant, and he's looking to, he's going on a vet extermination tour. He takes out KD last year, LeBron this year. He's looking to take out Steph this year. He wants all these big time vets. He wants them gone. And honestly, I kind of like that. He says it's our turn now, and he's 100% right. It's time for these this older generation of players, KD, LeBron, Steph, to witness all these newer guys coming to the league. Not the biggest fan of it. I still love all the older generation guys, Westbrook, Harden, KD. I love all those guys. But seeing, all these young stars come into the league and dominate, it's a real eye-opener saying, wow, maybe this time is coming to an end. Maybe, maybe that era of basketball is gone and it's Anthony Edwards and, the 2020s. It's the 2020s turn now. 2019, 2020, so on, that draft class, it's their turn now. So, honestly, it's gonna be a great series, though. Like I said, at the end of the day, I think it doesn't matter. The big play in the paint, Rudy Gobert versus Draymond, or whoever Golden State has on Gobert, is gonna be a deciding factor in this series because if Rudy's gonna dominate the boards, the Timberwolves will win in 5. If you can't get rebounds, you're not gonna win. And It's going to be a great series. It could be. It could turn out to be a great series if Steph plays the way he always has in the playoffs, which is good. So if he can shoot well, the Warriors will be just fine. But if they're not shooting well and Gobert's getting all the rebounds, this series will be over in 5, which sucks to say because, seeing, the 7 seed Warriors in the playoffs when no one expected them to be here or even win the first round. And possibly if I could see them. It's literally, I've said this so many times, it's the 2020 all over again. Warriors coming back, out of nowhere and winning the NBA championship when no one saw it coming. This is the year for them to do it again, and I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're talking about Shaquille O'Neal at Sacramento State. Talk about, what's going on, what he's doing there, basically. After that, going to the NFL, talk about the AFC North. After that, ending off with the MLB Power Rankings. We'll get to that after the break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. First 2 segments, talked about the NBA, talked about the semi-conference semifinals starting up, and previewed the games for tonight. This segment, sticking with basketball, we're going to the NCAA. We're talking about Shaquille O'Neal at Sacramento State, joining that organization. After that, we're going to the NFL, talking about the AFC North, break that down a little bit. Ending off with the MLB, talking about power rankings in the MLB. So, Shaquille O'Neal at Sacramento State. This was kind of, an unexpected twist. I guess no one really saw this coming. No one really saw, this is last week's news, by the way, but I want to talk about it because I haven't got to yet, so I'll touch on this. But no one really saw this one kind of coming. As last week, Shaquille O'Neal has agreed to become Sacramento State's men's basketball, or basketball in general, general manager. And, it's a huge pickup, I guess, for Sacramento State. They don't, Sacramento State throughout the past few years have kind of, brought in a lot of big name people, not just for basketball, but for like football. They're bringing in a lot of big name people who are just going to help build the organization up even more, build up Sacramento State and their name even more. So, and he's not even doing it for the money. Shaq is doing this. It's unpaid. He's not getting paid to do it. And who cares? He doesn't care. He just wants to keep, doing what he loves, staying informed in the world of basketball. He's a Hall of Famer, won 4 NBA championships. He is phenomenal. What can I say? Phenomenal player all time. And I doubt that, his time at Sacramento State is going to be bad. I doubt it. He's already bringing in, some big name guys, I guess you could say. He already brought, this guy's kind of, I wouldn't say washed, but Mikey Williams, former 5-star recruit, he brought him in. So, that's going to, help bring some image and some likeness, to Sacramento State. Seeing, Mikey Williams come and play for you. he was at UCF last season, averaged like 4 points a game. We didn't really do much. But maybe his time at Sacramento State is going to, change it up. Maybe he's going to, get the recognition he finally deserves and become the player that he was supposed to be. NBA caliber player. So, excuse me. And Shaquille O'Neal, his son, will be will also be there as well. Shakir is a phenomenal player. He's a center, just like his dad. I mean, he's like 6'10". He's a really tall kid. But getting Mikey Williams and Shaquille O'Neal to your organization. Shakir is one of the best players in the 2025 draft class, or 2025 high school graduating class, and he's just a phenomenal player. And Sacramento State, getting not only Shaq, but his son and Mikey Williams is definitely going to help the organization even more. But so they also got the head coach, Mike Bibby, who was a former Florida A&M basketball coach. And, it's kind of a name you probably haven't heard in a while, Mike Bibby. I mean, he had a good tenure at Florida A&M. He used to be he coached for the Hornets as well. He was a former Hornets basketball coach, and now he's leaving to come coach at Sacramento State. And like I said, another, big name guy they're bringing into the organization. You're bringing an NBA basketball coach to a college. You're only gonna succeed from there. You hardly ever see NBA coaches downgrade in a college unless they know for a fact they'll succeed, which they always will, because coaching for going from the NBA to college is a huge jump. And not really, honestly, but going from NCAA to NBA is a big jump. Downgrading is so easy for, players to, and coaches to adapt to. But, I mean, Shaq isn't this isn't the first time, a big high value name, high profile athlete name, whatever, has, accepted, or gone to their former school or just a school for a GM role. Steph Curry, he went to Davidson. He's now an assistant general manager for them. Trae Young, he's got a role in Oklahoma. Not even NBA as well. Andrew Luck, he went back to Stanford. As like a NIL base. He's basically like an NIL guy there. He's like the football GM, and he's kind of running NIL for them as well, bringing in players. So, Shaquille O'Neal going to Sacramento State is only just good for the organization. This is not bad for them whatsoever. And him going there, he's brought in a lot of money for them as well. Sacramento State is now they're supposed to open a bunch of new facilities now. Basketball, one of them. So he's already brought in so much money, and Shaq himself is donating a lot of money to this, the school, because he believes that, they deserve it. That, he's not going to go to a school he doesn't believe, deserves, the recognition or needs the money. He believed that Sacramento State wanted the money, and he believed he can contribute and build it up. And it's only, they're only going to go up from here. Sacramento State had a pretty poor season last year. They went 7-25 in basketball. And hopefully now with, Shaq being there, Mike Bibby's the head coach, already have Shaquille O'Neal and Mikey Williams. They're going to bring in maybe some more high caliber players. This could be like a Jackson State sort of situation where a low tier school gets some very high caliber players, or high value name people within the organization, and they become dominant. And hopefully that's the case. I really do hope that's the case. But yeah, they haven't made March Madness in forever. They haven't had a winning season since 2020, since the 2019-2020 season. So, Shaq is, like I said, only going to bring good things for this organization, for the school. Hopefully I'm right. I hope that it doesn't down. Then I doubt, when you see all these big time guys, big name players going to these schools, nothing bad. It tends to be good. The results tend to be, in favor of that school they're going to. So hopefully that's the case. That's still the case here. And yeah, I'm hoping that Sacramento State, just does well this year, brings in some players, gets another winning season since for the first time in 6 seasons, and maybe, make March Madness. Who knows? That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're going to the NFL, talking some AFC North. After that, ending off, talking about the MLB power rankings. We'll get to all that after the break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. First 3 segments, talked basketball, previewed NBA games for tonight, talked about the Eastern Conference semis so far and Western Conference semis, and we just talked about Shaquille O'Neal going to Sacramento State, becoming, the basketball general manager. This segment, we're talking about the AFC North. Talk about that. After this, we're talking MLB, talk about some power rankings in the MLB. So, AFC North. One of the most, I don't know how to say this, but a very interesting conference. You have, the Steelers, who make the playoffs every year but lose first round. The Ravens, who just can't seem to get it done. The Bengals, who are just, I'm not really sure what they got going on over there. They're the most offensive heavy team I think I've ever seen. And the Browns, who are the Browns. So, who's going to win the AFC North? Realistically, sorry about that. It'll probably be the Ravens. I mean, it's always the Ravens. It's always been the Ravens. It always will be the Ravens. But maybe not. You got, the Browns. Obviously, the Browns honestly had a very, very good draft. Drafting Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round and then Shadur in the 5th. Interesting decision. Very interesting decision, honestly. But, having 5 quarterbacks never hurt nobody, right? I guess. But they had a really good draft overall, though. They had, they got Mason Graham from Michigan. They got Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State. They got, I forgot his name, but that tight end out of Bowling Green, who had the most receiving yards for a tight end this year. I mean, they had a very solid and underrated draft. And they've had playoff success, not recently, but in 2020, they had a great season. They had a very great year in 2020, and this is a year that I believe that, if they play their cards right, they can be a playoff team. I do believe the Browns can be a playoff team this year. Excuse me, sorry. I'm really sorry. But the Browns are, like I said, interesting. 5 quarterbacks. You don't need 5 quarterbacks, but they got 2 young stars, Dylan Gabriel, Shadur Sanders. They just got Kenny Pickett. They still have Deshaun Watson. So, he's just eating up that contract. And then they just re-signed Joe Flacco for another 1-year deal. And, honestly, it never hurts to, get more vet quarterbacks, especially a guy like Joe Flacco, who was leading them to wins when he was there 2 seasons ago. Kenny Pickett's not going to touch the field. Deshaun Watson, he's out for half the season again with injury. So, honestly, it'll be Joe Flacco as the starting quarterback most likely, and then Dylan and then Gabriel and Sanders fighting for that 2 spot. So that'll be a weird situation that they're in. But then you got the Bengals, who obviously are the most offensive heavy team in the NFL. In my opinion, they just lack defense completely, and they just got no defense, and their offense is so good. Obviously, Joe Burrow, phenomenal quarterback. Jamar Chase, one of the 3 best receivers in the NFL. They keep franchise tagging T Higgins, and they just don't want to let him go. So, but I mean, when you lose your star edge rusher in the free agency / postseason, Trey Hendrickson, huge loss for them. He was their like cornerstone of their defense, phenomenal defensive player, and he got out. So losing him sucks, but maybe they just want more money to go into their offense. They're like the UCLA of NFL. They just focus so heavily on offense and care so little on defense, which is a problem. You're never gonna win games, never win the big one, Super Bowl, I mean, if you have no defense. A good Super Bowl winning team has a dominant offense and a dominant defense. And the Bengals, unless, their defense just miraculously becomes, just the Steelers defense just somehow, I'm not like it's just an average Steelers defense or something like that. They're not gonna win the Super Bowl. Yeah, they made it in 2022, lost to the Rams. It was a close game, but they lost because their defense. Their offense played great that whole game, and their defense didn't. That was their problem. So until they get their defensive situation figured out, they just will never be, the dominant team they hope to be. Then you got the Steelers. The Steelers are honestly like the exact opposite, except they made moves this year. The Steelers' defense is honestly just always phenomenal. They got, obviously TJ Watt, possibly the best edge rusher in the NFL right now, but he's not the best. He's one of the best. You just picked up, you got Will Howard out of Ohio State and Jack Sawyer. So Jack Sawyer is a huge pickup for them. Great defensive end for the Buckeyes last year. Huge, their best defensive player. One of the reasons they won the national championship last season was because of him. And, they made some moves in the offseason. They got DK Metcalf, pairing him up with George Pickens and, Will Howard at quarterback. Am I still streaming? Okay, I am still streaming. Wait. So, I don't know what just happened. My OBS has been really tweaking out recently, so I really don't know what's going on there. I hope that, figures itself out soon. I gotta fix this. But like I was saying, yeah, I'm not sure how long the segment's been now. I already lost track of time. But the Steelers got some great pickups this offseason. Yeah, like I said, offensive wise, they got defensive wise, they got Jack Sawyer and TJ Watt on the D line. Offensively, they got DK Metcalf and George Pickens on the offensive side of the ball. They did lose Najee Harris to the Chargers, which sucks, but their defense is still so strong and so dominant that honestly it kind of doesn't really matter, honestly. But, maybe it does. We'll have to wait. I mean, because they're always, a 10-7, 11-6 team. Maybe a 9-8, in between that range. 9, 10, 11 wins, like 8, 7, 6 losses. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see because their defense is always their strong point, and it's not their offense. So we'll have to wait and see. But then we, like I said, we got the Ravens. The Ravens. Obviously, Lamar Jackson got Derrick Henry last year. Huge addition for them. Honestly, one of the most underrated pickups, or not most underrated, but a dominant pickup they had he helped them all of last season. All of last season, he helped them win, and it was just a phenomenal player for them last season. That's all I can say. A phenomenal player. He was so good. And when he obviously, he was hurt some games, but when he was healthy, he was just dominant, just so dominant. And that's all I can really say. I mean, he's just that good. Their defense is really good too. They're just overall a great, just well-rounded, fundamental team, I guess you could say. And they just got it all. So what's what are the records gonna be? Like, who's gonna be where? Obviously, I still think the Ravens will be at 1. I think they'll probably have like a 12, 13 win season. Or maybe they'll start off weak. They started off 0-2 last year, had to climb their way through the AFC North again. And climb their way through it. So, but I think they start off strong and, probably have 11, 12, 13 win season. Second place, Steelers. I think their defense is just so good. I think DK Metcalf can be a huge addition for them this year. I think he'll be, a huge pickup. I think if they get the right quarterback, if Will Howard, if he's ends up being the starter, I think he'll be, a huge, and he plays out well. The Steelers have a very good offense plus a very good defense. I have the Browns at 3, making a wild card game. I think the Browns this year are destined to have another good year. They may have a great draft, so I think they're gonna be a 3 seed in the AFC North, but a 6 or 7 seed in the wild card in the total AFC. And I had the Bengals falling to the last seed just because their offense is good, but like I said, their defense just isn't as good. It needs to be better, and it's just not. So, yeah, Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Bengals. That's my rankings for the AFC North this next upcoming season. And that's all I got for this segment. Next segment, the final segment, talk about the MLB power rankings. We'll get to all that, or we'll just get to that after the break. Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. First 4 segments, talked about a lot of different stuff, mostly basketball and football. First 2 segments were NBA, talked about the playoffs. Segment number 3, talked about Shaquille O'Neal going to Sacramento State. Last segment, with some technical difficulties, which is starting to really get annoying because I'm not sure why it keeps happening, but whatever. We talked about the AFC North. We broke that down a little bit. Final segment number 5. We'll do a quick one so my computer doesn't crash again. MLB power rankings. The MLB right now is in a very different spot from what it was last year. And the power rankings, like what I'm about to give, are just, I feel like, pretty valid. I mean, I think this is a pretty good rankings of just overall the league. So let's get to it. Number 1, I'll do like the top 5 teams. We'll do like just a quick top 5, power rankings. In the 1 seed, excuse me, I'm not sure why I'm yawning so much recently. I still have the Dodgers in the 1 seed. The Dodgers started off undefeated, And then they went like on a 3-game losing streak. But ever since then, they've been on top of their game. They've been playing, just great Dodger baseball. And that's what, a gajillion dollar contract, a gajillion dollar organization is going to get you. The best players. And with no salary cap, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have, the best team in the league. Obviously, you got big name players, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani. These guys are just leading the charge, for the Dodgers. They're just that good of a team. And they will be. They honestly, like, statistically, or not statistically, but in my opinion, if you look on just, like, paper, they have one of the best rosters ever assembled. Ever. And I will stand by that. So, 24-11, not just based on the record, but just based on how good they actually are, they are the best team in the MLB. At number 2, the other team that also started off undefeated, San Diego Padres. I mean, this team was also just phenomenal. They got some really good players. Example, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Tatis Jr. I mean, the Padres are just that good as well. Obviously, there's more players than that. I'm just saying, some of their most crucial, most important players. But, the Padres also started off 9-0, 8-0 as well. And they're a phenomenal overall team, playing in a pretty good conference, pretty good division. And, they're leading their division. They're leading. Oh my God, excuse me. I'm sorry. Actually, they're not leading the NL West. I forgot the Dodgers are, ahead of them. But, the NL West is very, very deep. It goes to Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks, and then you got the Rockies. So there they're the outlier. They're literally the outlier. But I mean, the Padres are a great overall team. Their batting's been on fire. Their pitching, their bullpens, and pitching great. They have one of the best bullpens in baseball. The Dodgers have the best bullpen in baseball, but they're not healthy. Healthy, they are the best, but right now they're just not healthy. They have like 3 out of like their 7 starters, like 3 or 4 of them are healthy, and that's not enough. You need more pitchers than that. Honestly, like, 3 or 4 can like maybe slide by, but I just don't think it's enough. So if the Dodgers, they can honestly overtake the Padres can overtake the Dodgers soon if the Dodgers stay injured and the Padres just keep playing good baseball, because they have been the past few games. They've been dominating. So number 3, I got the New York Mets, who honestly I think is, I think just very good. Getting Juan Soto in the offseason was one of the best, pickups they had. 100%. Signing him to $13-14 million a year deal for $700 million. Great addition to the team. Obviously, you got guys, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, obviously Juan Soto, their big name guy. Just phenomenal. The Mets this year have kind of exceeded expectations. I wouldn't say that because, they made the playoffs last year. But adding Soto is also, just a huge, huge pickup for the Mets. I don't like keep saying the Dodgers every time I'm talking. Just, the Dodgers are stuck in my head. But the Mets have just had, it's a huge pickup for them. Juan Soto, is honestly one of the best. He's probably the best hitter in the MLB. And he's just that good of a player. He's a great fielder for them as well. Great right fielder for them. And Juan Soto, even though his contract is a gajillion dollars, the Mets needed him. And they got their guy. And he left the Yankees, who are not playing the best baseball right now. Yeah, Joe just batting like .430, which is actually insane. But he left New York and went to New York, which is still really fun to me. He got traded to the inner city rival. But, the Mets are just playing great baseball all year. So, yeah, they're the third best team in the MLB right now, in my opinion. Number 4, I think the 4th best team in the MLB is the Detroit Tigers, who obviously that's my team, and I love them. I think the Tigers are just that good of a team. The Tigers, obviously, Spencer Torkelson, Gary Carpenter, Riley Green, just to name a few of the batters. Speaking of the Tigers, Javier Baez is stepping up to be one of the most improved players coming off an injury, or just, one of the most improved players in general this year. In the past, he had such a bad year the past 2 seasons. Injury, played horrible, couldn't hit. He fixed his batting stance. They got him playing center field now because we don't have one. We moved our other guy down because he was horrible. No disrespect, but he wasn't batting. He was batting he had an 0.91 batting percentage, so that's horrible. But he fixed his batting stance and he's been all over the plate. He's hitting like 270, 260 right now, and it's a huge improvement from last year. He's batting like 180 last year, and he just had a great turnaround. I'm really happy to see the Baez is back playing, playing the way that he used to play with the Cubs. And I'm happy to, see that this version of him is back. Which is honestly just, I love seeing it. I really do. And I'm happy that, he's back to where he is, back to, his old self. So, thank God for that. And to end it off, the 5th best team in the MLB, in my opinion, is the Chicago Cubs. Chicago Cubs have had such a good improvement this offseason in hitting. Their hitting has improved drastically since last season. Their bullpen has been good, but it's their pitching, it's their hitting that it's really improved. It's really, it's really made them how good they really are this year because they're hitting. Obviously, Dansby Swanson, huge player for the Cubs the past 2 seasons. Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, phenomenal. Just phenomenal overall players for the Cubs. Huge additions to this organization. Excuse me. And, and they really stepped up this year. The Cubs this year, like I said, their bullpen has been good. It was their hitting that was lacking. And now their offense is where they need it to be. Getting hits, getting on base, and scoring runs. Even if their hitting is not that good, their on-base percentage as a team is phenomenal. They're getting on base multiple times an inning just from, taking walks. This Cubs team is one of the best, at on-base percentage because of, they're just taking balls. They're not swinging at bad pitches. They're letting if they see it coming and they know it's a ball, which, is pretty hard to tell in the heat of the moment, but they see it coming and they know that these guys just know for a fact if it's a ball or not. And it's working for them. So the Cubs have had a very, dominant season at the plate. And hopefully, these top 5 teams continue to be top 5 teams. I would love to see, a Tigers-Cubs World Series matchup. Will it happen? Who knows? We'll have to wait till, October. But those are my top 5 teams. I think, honestly, that's a pretty valid, top 5. All 5 of those teams are playing phenomenal right now. And honestly, the Tigers are my team, so I follow them the most. But I still, stick around, follow, the other big name teams in the MLB. But yeah, that's my top 5, and hopefully you guys can agree with me on that because I think that's a pretty valid list. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. Your guys' continuous support means the world to us, so please feel free to like, comment, share with anybody you know. If you wish to stay up to date with all things GSMC, make sure to follow us on all of our social media, with that being Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, X/Twitter, Facebook, anything. If there's social media, we're on it. Just search up GSMC Sports Network, and we're on it. So make sure to follow us, stay up to date with all things GSMC. But like I said, thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon. Have a good one.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.